Hi, Dwayne here, and we're back again as we discuss digital evangelism and discipleship. And I want to continue into my second dynamic that I mentioned at first, where we laid out those four dynamics. The second one is preparation, and it's very critical and important to the success of you affecting people positively with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so we talked about principle and understanding why we do the things we do. Now, preparation is taking action based upon a pure motivation. Amen. And so we want to go ahead and dive into what successful preparation looks like. And successful preparation first starts with understanding your dynamic. And understanding your dynamic speaks about understanding your demographic. Who is your target audience? Who are you reaching out to? Who is your message tailored to? Very important. And there's three specific generations that tend to stand out the most. The boomer generation, which is more the older ones, and then there the mid-range generation, which tends to be the millennials, and then the post-millennial generation. And these are three dynamics that dwell oftentimes on three different platforms. Some congregate on similar platforms, but they have their specific platforms that they like more so. And you have to understand your target audience so you know, okay, this message is catered to such and such. I know then how I need to prepare it. I know then how I need to deliver it, what platform it needs to be on, and again, how I need to articulate the message that God has given me to articulate. Very important, because you just don't want to come on and go gun-ho and then do whatever you want to do and then effectively lose your audience and lose the people you're trying to reach. Understanding your target audience is very critically important for effective ministry. And even within a church session, the pastor must know, okay, this is the demographic of such and such age within my church. This is what they are attuned to. This is the other demographics. This is where they are attuned to. And a good pastor, a good leader will be able to speak and minister in such a way that effectively draws in all of those dynamics and generations so that they can receive the message in a way that is palatable to them and enjoyable to them. And so you want to make sure that you have prepared yourself in such a way to understand the dynamics, to understand your demographics and those that you're reaching out to and the platforms that they inhabit more so. Now, statistically, you may not be able to gather that information, especially if you are doing something that's live on Facebook and it's all out there to the entire world, or one of those other social media platforms where it's live out there. You may have to gather those statistics afterwards by examining the broadcast, and there's ways to do that. And if you need help in that respect, we have in our business a consultation aspect that helps pastors, leaders, businesses understand demographics and statistics and then how they can more so cater to reach it. But as you build, you're going to find that there's going to be certain demographics that are going to be attracted to your message, and the statistics will be able to show you male, female, where they're from, various nations, their ages, and so forth. And so it helps you to understand how to prepare and how to present. Very important if you want to be effective in the delivery of the message that God has put in your hands to deliver. Now, not only do you have to understand the demographics, but you have to also understand the platforms that those demographics are attracted to. Now, we can't go into all of that today, but again, these are things you must research so that you know, okay, if I want to reach this generation more so, they are more populated in this arena, so I have to do my outreach here in this particular platform. Okay, so very important to know, because the social media space is filled with a variety of platforms where different generations congregate rather than others, and so having that understanding is very helpful. And so you may have a boomer generation or a zennial, or the older millennial generation that may still be on Facebook, but the mid to younger millennials, post millennials, you're not going to find them there per se. You're going to have to go on Instagram, you're going to have to reach out to Twitter, and then there's the Discord, and there are other, and that's not Discord as in Discord as we understand it, but that is actually a social media platform, and there are other ones as well that Snapchat and so forth, TikTok, various other ones that can be used to spread the gospel. And there are ways to do it because each platform is tailored to different types of messages and deliveries, and so you have to know how to be effective in your outreach by understanding them, studying them, and again preparing well for them. And so understanding the dynamics, which means studying your demographics and who your message is tailored to, is critical. But then there is the deportment that comes along with it. Now, deportment, as you would understand the word, it speaks towards your dress, your presentation, and deportment is how you suit up to reach that generation, how you suit up your message, how you tailor it to do so, but how you suit up even in your presentation visibly, because remember, people are going to be seeing you. You're not going to be hiding, or you're not going to be amongst others, especially if it is just you in that broadcast, or you're going off live on social media to digitally evangelize and disciple. Usually it's going to be you, and so people are going to be watching you. You're going to be front and center, and so you have to come to a place where you've suited up rightly for that generation you're trying to reach, or that particular demographic you're trying to reach. Or if it's a blend of demographics, then obviously your suiting up will depend on the tone of your message and what is being articulated and the type of session that you're hosting. We'll get into that a bit later, but that's very important, because with social media, people have their phones in their hand. It's right before their face. They have their tablets. It's right before their face. It's not like sitting down watching TV and you're some distance off where you can be distracted. No, you're very much engaged. And if there's something that is distracting on you, or if you don't look the part, usually people will disconnect and you'll lose your retention, which means you'll lose the ability to influence with your message to the greatest amount of people within the least amount of time. And so that's something that is very important that people often take for granted, but deportment and presentation is very important. Now, coming from dynamics and understanding demographics to deportment, there is your delivery, and delivery speaks of your conversational method. Now, we are very used to preaching, and we know what that looks like, okay? Especially in the church, we're used to preaching, and people will understand and receive that context on days that they are connected to that context. And so for most of us, that's a Sunday, okay? And so if someone is connecting to a service or a broadcast coming over on a Sunday, there's an expectation that, yes, it's coming from the church, preaching will be tailored to it. But if it's something that is coming from your own personal social media account and you're taking that gospel message out, or as a church you're doing it on a day that is not Sunday and you're carrying forth ministry, unless it's like a Wednesday night Bible teaching, which again is not necessarily preaching but teaching and breaking down the word, there'll be expectations that people will have in their minds. And if you come off as doing something that is not necessarily fitting the mood of that particular day, then people will disconnect. And so you must understand how to deliver your message, and delivery is affected by context. Context is being the particular day and the type of message that you are bringing. Now, delivery can be conversational, which means I'm getting on here and just like I'm talking with you now, I am teaching you, but it's more of a conversation. I'm not necessarily going in gun-ho preaching at you. This is what the Lord says. I'm not getting into those gears and preaching and going on. I'm more teaching you and doing so with exuberance and so forth, bringing forth the message to you. But the reality is that conversational discussion tends to be very effective in respect to the fact that as you converse, people are very familiar with that mood on social media. Social media is a conversational platform, and so they're already accustomed to that. So as you converse, people will begin to listen. And then one of the things about having a conversational method is that there will be people that will engage your comments in your comment section and share different things, and you calling out their names or acknowledging something that they've said. It makes it more intimate. It's like somebody sitting down right across the room from you or right across the table from you, and the discussion becomes more vibrant, and people tend to be more engaged when there's discussion like that. And so having a conversational method as you plan out your delivery, as you prepare, can be very important depending on the type of message and again the day that you're delivering the message. All right, as I said, people have an expectation oftentimes on Sunday that they're going to hear preaching, and different days tend to have different contexts. Usually the other days similar contexts, but Wednesday is pretty different, because if you're a church and you're broadcasting, people are going to have an expectation that it may be a Bible study. Now that doesn't mean that you can't break the mold, but this is just giving you an understanding of how people's minds have already been molded, okay? And so if you want to do like a special interview session, or you want to host guests and bring them on a broadcast, that may be something you may want to do on a Thursday or maybe a a Monday or Tuesday, just a different day that's different from those days where people already have a mold in their mind. And this is something that we have already done. We had Tuesday broadcasts. I teach classes on Monday. That's a private class, but that's online as well. And that's a process of discipleship. But again, our Tuesday sessions that we do tend to have that interview model. So I talked about the conversational model. Then there's the interview model, where you bring on more opinions to dive into a topic that you might want to discuss, that you will believe will be effective and healthy for the growth of others, and having them grow as a disciple in Jesus Christ. And so interview sessions are effective, and yes, you may be able to talk about that subject yourself, but having other minds and sitting in with other people and having them share their perspectives and teachings and opinions in that section, and you being a host to that, really does create attraction to what you are doing and saying and the message that is coming forth, because people like that. They like when there's discussion, they like when there's that sense of engagement, and then other personalities have their own people that are connected to them, and so you will often get a larger crowd, and the discussion will be rich and the engagement will be rich, and you'll see a lot of that activity in the comments, and then people will then have more of a heart to share those type of messages, because again, they want people to receive and hear this discussion that is being said, and where there's varying opinions or points being made, they want people to hear. There's that inquisitiveness that comes with it, so you'll find that the message may get out the gate faster. It may get to more people because people are engaged and they want to share and they want to get it out there. So hosting and having those interview sessions are very important as well, and something you should consider. Now, you'll need special software to get that done. Again, we can offer consulting to help you get up to speed with that, if that is your particular direction. Then there are softwares that already do it, such as Zoom and so forth. But again, if you want to engage various social media platforms, sometimes you may want to engage them at the same time. Sometimes you may want to have your message on YouTube, because there are people that are not on Facebook, but you want to have it on Facebook as well. And so you want that simultaneous effect. So you need software to deal with that. And again, our consultation can help in that respect. So that's delivery. So we have talked about dynamics. We've talked about deportment. We talked just about delivery, getting the message out. And then the last D is discussion. Okay, and discussion speaks of engagement. Now, just there in delivery, we were talking a bit about the benefits of engagement, and engagement is so necessary. Engagement creates retention. Retention means people are more than likely to come back the next time you bring a message, because there was a sense of engagement. There was a sense of them having the opportunity to have discussion, to have growth. And engagement always creates retention, and retention not just in the moment, but retention long term. And so how do you engage and create discussion? Well, you can have Q&A, where you invite those who are commenting to offer questions and shoot questions into the conversation, and you answering those questions live. Or if you have a host and you have these questions coming in, it's like a call-in program almost now, and it's not that you're going to take up all your time doing that, but you're offering it for about 10 minutes or so. And so there's that engagement, and people are enjoying that. And again, it creates greater teaching. It opens up the mind as well, because when somebody asks a question, it really does help in that respect, in giving clarity. And then others that were afraid to ask that question, you know how it goes, they then get clarity as well. And when somebody breaks the ice, then more people want to jump in and also bring their questions. And so it's a rich opportunity to create that engagement, but also to bring alive the conversation even more, and it creates deeper levels of discipleship online. So discussion is a critical point. So remember, you want to understand your dynamics, you want to have the right deportment, have the right delivery, and also cater to discussion. So guys, that is the second dynamic, preparation. And now we're going to move into our third dynamic, where we're going to talk about presentation. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one.